You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis show. My guest on the show this morning, the man in charge, CEO of the Youth Authority, Emmanuel Asigiri. Also, George Lowe, former MP for North Dai, and he's a lawyer. Now, Yao Opong, he's also a lawyer and teaches the law. I think I saw him briefly in the court when the injunction application was being argued. I showed up in that court, and within 1 minute, I made up my mind. I left. And then Kweku Bako, he's editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Now, it's been a week where we have been whining about some bugging at the Galamsey Fighting Minister's office. What exactly has been going on there? Now, let's listen to these comments that were made, and then we'll come back to look at the Inusah Fuseini and his security thing he put in his office and what is becoming of that situation.
The device actually was uncovered during a screening process by the some security agencies, and for me, it's quite surprising, why such a device should be planted in my office. The offices of the ministers and other sensitive areas are supposed to be, searched from time to time. This has not been very regular, So what actually happened is that I invited a company called Newsfile to discuss the application of drones in our Galamsey side, And it was during the discussion that I got to know they are also expecting screening. And so I asked them, why don't you come and try my office for me the following day? So they came, and unfortunately, this device was uncovered.
All right, so I'm just curious, did you just ask them to come and screen your office? Could it be that you had some suspicions already?
Oh, no, the kind of jobs we do, especially with regard to my ministry, the sensitivity of the area, the security concerns. So it's proper you do security checkouts on yourself. Again, your car, your house, I'm quite aware of some of these implications. So I'm extremely careful in what I do at any particular point in time. And I think that directs me to do that, yeah.
What are your suspicions?
I wouldn't know how Ghanaians can be so wicked, or I don't know. I'm not suspicious, but I think somebody is just trying to be very mischievous and in an attempt to derive and gain for personal interest. And I don't know what might trigger people to do that. I can't understand.
I basically think that, yes, it was based on open conscience. It's unfortunate that the firestorm that greeted the discovery of the device was what motivated me to, at least in line with my own conscience, and to put to rest this matter. It's important. I mean, two people, myself and the security experts, were those who were involved in this matter. So clearly, if I had kept quiet, it was taking some time for people to discover. But I thought that in view of the firestorm that greeted the discovery of the device, I ought to put to rest this matter. To reassure them that this had nothing, I will say, with that any fear of contradiction, that when I was there, it was not intended to prod on my successors. And I'm prepared to collaborate with the security agencies to ensure that too.
Certainly. I'm surprised. Absolutely. If you were in my shoes, you would be too. This is not anything we expected. And especially if someone, a colleague, planted it, that is very strange.
But you did not put your own device there. You did not take your security that serious.
Well, but if only one device has been found or whatever, and a colleague says he planted it, then clearly, by extraction, you can tell that I didn't have any device there. I ought to have been told that there was a device, and it ought to have been removed, certainly.
If indeed it is true, why would he not alert the minister following after him? If it's predicated on open conscience, why would he not inform the person who took over from him. So that will be well. I've already told you that the Minister for National Security is taking some steps in these matters. If it has to be done in a way that you inform him or ensure that ministers also conduct themselves well, is the charge of the Minister for National Security. I don't want to make any comments on that. However, I guess putting 1 and 2 together, if, as you are telling me, the former minister is saying that he's claiming responsibility for having done that and yet refusing to tell the successor, your guess may be as good as mine.
All right. So just why is it so difficult for almost all of us to believe Inusah Fuseini, the former minister, that he simply forgot to inform Neo Samuels and subsequently inform Peter Amewu that I had this thing in there? And why are we just refusing to believe him when he says the thing was not working? It had been installed, but what was needed to trigger it had not been done. He abandoned it. Why can't we believe him? Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
This is the time the president says that he's putting his presidency on the line on this fight.
And incidentally, this has to do with the very ministry and a very active minister who is ensuring that that declaration by the president is implemented to the end, right, and achieve the appropriate result. Well, let me put on record, Mr. Inusah Fuseini is my very good friend. We all did our masters together. We were very close. I visited him in his office when he was there. So also when Mr. Senior Samuels was also there. I also,
former president of the GDA.
I visited him once to have a discussion. So I know them very well. But let me say that I'm also rather surprised that Senior Samuels and the current minister are surprised about this.
They feel naked.
Yes, but because I think in a way there's a kind of contributory be negligence, or for want of a better word. Yes. With all due respect to them. And that is not to glorify what Mr. Inusah Fuseini has done. I am surprised that a minister taking office in a public institution, in a public office building, would not for a start ask, in this day and age, do what he has done at the beginning. I'm really surprised. And for Senior Samuels to be in that office when you have taken over from another person, never mind from the same party. Of course, I don't hold that parties form government anyway. And 2 years, nobody was invited at the time they used to sweep, technically, the room. Sometimes all we do is change furnitures and furnishing. I'm not saying that is what happened. But to be in that room without even thinking that this can happen to you. As for Mr. Amewu, I think it's even worse. We are in a very child political situation. And that aside, this Galamsey thing, and from day one when he took office,
taking the fight to unprecedented levels. Yes. So you are saying that he ought to have had the presence of mind to do the sweeping?
Definitely. I think that his demeanor and disposition, very calm, and maybe not thinking that. That's why I said he didn't think that he said Ghanaians, but maybe some Ghanaians. For all you know, there's not even a Ghanaian who may have done it. But well, Mr. Inusah Fuseini has owned.
Well, while Osa Mills says he feels naked, Mr. Amewu says, look, there's nothing that I did there that I'm scared.
You see, it may not necessarily be even about scared. I mean, some of us spend maybe a night even in your office. And I know Mr. Samuels is used to that as a lawyer. He may even change his shirt, maybe wear a white shirt. After lunch, may want to change his shirt, his chest may be exposed, and other forms. The nakedness may not even be physical, but the kind of national security
No,
discussions.
but if you want to show my chest to the world, so what?
Oh, well, I'm just.
That's not
I'm
wrong.
Just, I'm just trying.
I've not done a crime.
I'm just trying not to go
Okay.
deep into the kind. The nakedness can be physical.
You're refusing my invitation to explain what you mean.
No. Yes, but you see, then also it's an invasion of privacy. And Article 18, we may have to go there again.
Yeah, 18.
That no person shall be subjected to interference with privacy of his home. Well, this is not home, but correspondence or communication. And the exceptions given there, none of them will be a justification for Mr. Inusah Fuseini to do so. I think, and then also, when you are working in an institution, whether public or private, there's always a rule against commingling, bringing your own assets to the institution without approval by the institution itself. Because it can be dangerous that you can mix your asset with that of the institution, accountability becomes a problem.
Right.
So to the extent that this was not disclosed, and thirdly, I think national security also, we have also let them down. In all cases, in my view, it should even be periodic. Occasionally, not just the offices, the environment, the homes, the official homes, official vehicles. For me, when they were taking off, even their computers, they should have changed and bought one for themselves or by themselves. Because these things may not only cause you a problem, but the entire nation. I can imagine ministers communicate on the high level, sometimes cabinet discussions.
Right.
And if any of these are not protected or insulated from, if you like, unlawful or illegal
what's the fear? Cabinet discussions to commit a crime or what?
No. National security matters are usually not, generally, not for public consumption, if you like. They are usually classified. And in this case where we are putting together...
All those things are supposed to be for the public interest. So why are we scared about them if they get out?
Well, I mean, but you understand that not every discussions that relate to national security. It's even one of the grounds where even a district court may have to refer to the Supreme Court to determine whether that document ought to be disclosed to the public.
Right.
Because it relates to national security. And I think in future, all the ministers, government appointees, even as individuals, even in our own private offices, I think this is something that has, if you like, awoken us, and we should just make sure that it may not cost much to save such huge embarrassment and also the repercussions that may follow.
Okay.
So I think that Mr. Inusah Fuseini, well, he has apologized. If it was inadvertence, then he must come out clearly. Otherwise, other motives may be ascribed to this whole situation.
I see.
And coming from that institution where we are also dealing with a particular nationals of a particular nation who are very good at this kind of technology, you never know. Already there had been allegations that one of the accused persons had some specialized facilities where there is fear that some information, visual, audiovisual, and so on, it's in the possession of that person.
Kuku said nobody has got it. They should forget it. Kuku who? Kuku back.
I thought he was alluding to the fact that somebody has it.
Now, I mean, surprisingly, we don't have it. Do you believe it? Now, see, we are operating on the assumption that the facility actually was functional. The former minister says, it was not activated. Now, there are suggestions that he may have been so naive in thinking that it was not functioning, because the manner in which it was detected suggested that it was functioning. What do you say?
Samson, devoid these questions you've put to me, if you listen to what he has put out there, my take on this issue is this. If he's saying the device was not functioning, listen to the reasons why he said he put it there. How do you reconcile that? You said you were putting it there for some intended purpose.
Extra security,
Absolutely.
which he had been advised.
Absolutely. And then you put the thing there, it wasn't functioning, and you just left it there. I guess if it was me or any other person on this, in this studio, would have decided, would have asked that they remove it and take it away. So the issue of the device not being functional, for me, I doubt it. Fortunately, the experts are saying they are looking into the matter. And I believe no matter what the case is, they'll be able to trace and then tell us whether, if indeed it picked some, information which it was put there for. This thing about public officers bagging their offices, vehicles, and that kind of thing, and not communicating to successors or even people who are within them in the immediate environment, I think is not the best. These days, we have so many devices that probably you don't need to even, put in a fixed place. Look, we have some devices like pens where you can drop in a mag in your office and it will do all the things for you. You sit in your home and you're monitoring this on your phone. The devices come in different forms, in different ways.
If you're ignorant, ask Anas.
His boss is here.
His plate, the plate he eats from.
Absolutely. So, if you have a situation where a minister who occupied that office for, I think, more than 2 years before he was moved to Rhodes, tell us that he left and forgot about it. I mean, moving into the new office, did he have that intention again to put that kind of a device in there? See,
in this office, he was fighting Galamsey, even though not at the level we have seen now. I mean, not anywhere close.
Well,
but you understand that, as we know, he had actually been moved from one home to the other because his life needed to be protected, special.
Interesting.
So he says, look, I put it there and I needed it to just check who was coming into my office. I just wanted to be sure.
Is that what the device
to
is
know
really
who
meant
is
for?
coming into my office at what time. But they installed it. Now they needed to put in something else to activate it. They didn't do that.
That is where I still say I don't believe that, statement that the device was not active. I mean, it is not only around Inusah Fuseini who did this type of a thing. Me sitting here, I have suffered this personally.
You have?
Yes. My official SUV had a tracking device in it, and nobody in the authority knew until it created a problem for the vehicle. The vehicle went for servicing and came. We were to move the vehicle for some last services for me to do some tour of the country. The vehicle won't start. They tried all the things that they needed to do. It won't start. We brought people, the experts from Toyota Ghana. They came, tried it, they couldn't.
When was this?
This was in, I think, March.
March of this year?
Yeah, March of this year.
Okay.
I think just barely a month after I had taken over office. So when it happened, we had to go back to the dealership, and they came and towed the vehicle. So upon going through it, studying it, and I have pictures of it on my other phone. It's in the vehicle now.
Okay.
I'll show it to you after this whole program. They detected a tracking device and then called to talk to the director of procurement. He had no knowledge about this whole thing. So they brought it to my attention. Then we discussed this thing at management level. Then the director of IT said, well, I am aware of something like that. And the reason why he owned up to, indicate that this did happen was that when my predecessor,
Rasmo Barak.
yes, brought the people who came to introduce the device, as the IT director, they came to his office to use his machines. And the vehicle, according to him, was driving around the Swan Lake area and they were monitoring it. That is how come he could recall. So you do such a thing, you don't even tell the transport officer, you don't tell anyone. And this vehicle stayed at the workshop for about 3 months.
But this tracking is only to track the whereabouts of the vehicle.
No, but I mean, these are some of the things we are talking of.
Is it not to protect, I mean, when it is stolen or something?
He was the one using it. If he did it for that purposes, inform the people you were working with. So that at least, when we were told by the dealership that this is what was happening, this is what had happened to the vehicle.
Your suspicion is that
it wouldn't have come as a surprise.
Your suspicion is that for the period you used it until it got into that trouble, you were tracked.
Fortunately, I think I used it for just about 10 days. When I asked that they had to go service it for me to be able to do a tour of our facilities around the country, and then we had this problem. And me, I don't know what whatever it is beyond tracking the movement of the vehicle would have been put there to get me. But I'm raising these issues to say
so that's all it tracks, where you go, where the vehicle is.
And they just found
it does not include your communication.
We didn't put this before. We didn't put this before National Security to tell us what the details are. When they just got the thing and took a picture and sent to the director of procurement, and he brought the pictures, showed it to me, and then I spoke to the officers at the dealership, and they indicated that there was a tracking device which they who sold the vehicle to the authority didn't put in. And this was a vehicle bought by Sedina. You know, so he Ras came and inherited a vehicle. Then he decides to put a tracking device on a vehicle you as the chief executive was using. So I asked myself, why would you put a tracking device on a vehicle you had possession of? Was it for the purposes of, in case it is stolen? If that was the intention, so be it. But
beyond that, what else could be the purpose of a tracking device on a vehicle?
I don't know. You know, I'm just relating. I'm relating this to this whole discussion. That you see, when you occupy public space and you do these type of things, for instance, well, I've heard arguments come up that he shouldn't have taken it upon himself to do. He should have made it a national security matter. Okay. He has considered that even at a point in time they had to move him from his residence. I mean, his residence to a different place where he could be protected more efficiently. With all these things, he could have brought it before national security. If you wanted to go beyond them and then do your own thing, then come do it. As to whether I'm doing it now or not, I will not disclose it here. But I would not make that mistake if I happen to be doing a thing like this. Having put a device in my office to monitor what is going around the office in my absence, I wouldn't make that mistake, leave and say, such an essential, equipment is something I have just forgotten of. So listening to the comments that he's made, for me, it doesn't add up at all. Okay. And I want to urge national security to speed up with the investigation so that we get to know. Because two successive ministers, took over, and then I think that, it was not just the best for us to have this kind of a situation happen. Okay. And Kweku, some suggest that he cannot on his own take extra security measures. Is it because he's a public officer? You and I know that in our own private, we do these things because we are not ministers, we are not fighting Galamsey, and yet we come under threat of attack, and we need to do these things. CCTV cameras in your house, I guess.
Well. Again, I have a little difficulty. This is a man I respect. Yes, I think he's an honest broker. I've encountered him many times on public platforms, and he's a very, very honest, person. Is that not the reason we should believe him? I'm prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt in terms of his motives, but I'm not prepared to purge him of, the irresponsibility, the element of, it's such an act of gross indiscretion, if you like, and this has been charitable. What was the nature of the personal insecurity he perceived that warranted him installing this device in the public office that he occupied without reference to national security? What was the nature of that insecurity? Life-threatening, blackmail, somebody planting something in his office, and he thought doing the extra security protection thing by himself through a private entity was sufficient cure for the mischief that he had perceived. I'm surprised. And then he said it wasn't activated after all. So the insecurity vanished into thin air? Did the insecurity vanish into thin air? That's where there's a difficulty. But you see, this is a man who I say is an honest man. I want to say that for him, anytime, anywhere. But we are now looking at public policy, public affairs, state matters. So if he's wrong, he's wrong. It's as simple as that. And the fact that he forgot to remove it when he was leaving that office and forgot to tell his successor. It's the litany of these omissions put together, the aggregation is such that it's difficult then to offer him any credible defense. You just can be sentimental. Oh, I like this man, he's an honest person. So then sentimentally, I'm prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt. But strictly speaking, from a public policy point of view, from intelligence point of view, from security point of view, I'm disabled to offer any serious defense.
About the fear of what the machine may have been used for, as in having used to spy Inusah Mills and spy or listen, eavesdrop on whatever they do, and also on Ameru. I don't know what you know about what has been found. Was it connected to electricity, or it depends on, or it runs on batteries? And if it does run on batteries, how long could it survive?
See, we don't know all these things, but I'm aware of all sorts of gadgets that are in town these days. Plenty. You gave me a watch, beautiful watch yesterday, last Saturday.
Right.
I double checked. Not that I don't trust, but I double checked.
Mistakes can be made.
From the watch shop.
For all you know, it didn't come from here, it came from there. And I'm telling you the truth, I double checked. So all sorts of things are happening. You'll be surprised. Things that have come to town. Some use the, what do you call this, solar. Some light. Light. This light. From here.
The things are just, they're just too many.
So you don't have to see batteries in it. You don't have to connect it to any plug. Dependent on the illumination in the room, it will operate.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
But you're taking it from me.
You see, so that point, I leave to national security to examine all those things. And if indeed it was ever activated and operated, they will know. It might have been dead by that time because somebody may have disabled it, or it may have malfunctioned and so got dead.
But those who found it picked the signal.
Well,
so it must have been functioning to be able to pick a fact.
I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that for a fact. But if it is true,
that's what is
then
reported.
The issue of, yes, it's reported, but I don't know it. I haven't verified.
Okay.
So then the issue of, if that turns out to be true, then the point that it wasn't activated is lost, diminishes, you know. And I find it so difficult that we are dealing with this matter because of Inusah. Yes, it's true. His honesty was important by coming out to admit it, even though I'm telling you, it could have been traced to the supplier. That equipment eventually could have been traced to the source, if not necessarily Inusah.
Okay.
And proper investigations would have led to somebody, because I'm told a gentleman called Aruna actually went on Star FM and said that he tried to help install it, and that is a private security company that gave it to Inusah as a gift. You see, so with all this around, there's no way intelligence eventually would not have put a finger on the source of supply. But all right, he came out and said, I installed it. And apparently, it curtailed a lot of the speculations and also all sorts of conspiracy theories, one of which I'm told came from within the NDC itself, somebody whose name I hardly mention because I don't want to dignify the person, that this was a conspiracy from within the MPP to nail the minister. Unfortunate. This is so unfortunate. But you see, let's wait for national security. I'm sure, I'm told he's been invited, maybe through the speaker.
Says he'll cooperate.
He says he'll cooperate. I think he will go and tell the truth. It's just that he should admit this is an act of gross indiscretion. And I'm saying I'm being charitable. There are some who are reading into it potential criminality, violation of certain laws.
Right.
And I'm told the great old Mr. Okudoto says he should be prosecuted. I think that's a bit too harsh. That's a bit too extreme. That's my view.
The Data Protection Commission has said, the commissioner herself, Teki Akwete, Falconer, has said that beyond the civil aspect, he may have criminally breached the laws of Ghana.
I can sense that.
And then Samuel Kujeto, advocate of the Supreme Court, also says that he should be prosecuted.
Yes, I can sense all that. It's true. It's on the surface, the evaluation is clear. But you see, if we find out that indeed the thing didn't work or they didn't pick up any, and I'm saying this with a lot of, skepticism because of what I do or what I know. No, I mean what I know.
Of course. Yeah.
Not what I do.
Okay.
Or what is done for you. You see, so I can understand
what you are trained people to do. Okay, so George, yes.
Well, thank you, Samson, and it's been interesting listening to the plethora of perspectives from my friends around the table. You see, I think that I'll join Kweku in saying that, you see, in this country, I always marvel at how easily we take very serious issues. And for me, this is something that should engage the attention of all what we call the PEPs, politically exposed persons. You see, I can sit here and conjecture. I'm just conjecturing that somebody walks into Haruna's Fuseini's office and says, "Look, Master, oh, this place, do you have any?" And then he gets excited. "Oh, I can fix some for you. We do security." Yeah. And then he fixed these things, and some ways, yes, some way somehow he gets carried away by some gadget, which whether he doesn't even understand whether it has been activated or not.
That's part of the suspicion now.
No,
that he himself may have been naked.
Why am I saying that? Did you listen to Peter Bewu very well? He said somebody came out discussing something different with him. Then he said, "So we are security experts. We can even sweep." Then he said, "Oh, then come and sweep my office and see." So it wasn't like he had gone to national security. Oh, really? Yes, that's what if you play it again.
No, he was talking of drones.
Yeah, no,
maybe he might eventually have gone.
Well, what I'm saying is that he didn't. It wasn't like he had gone to national security and said, "Come and sweep my office and see if anything has done." But he also, in the normal course of business, thought that, oh, he heard something interesting. Oh, this thing can be done. We are security people. Oh, they come and try it. And then, lo and behold, something is found out. That is, should our public officers be behaving like that?
As an appointee who is going into a new office.
No, I'm coming there.
Who is going into a new office? Invite the national security. Yes. Or that ought to be the protocol.
I was coming there. I said I was coming there. So again, I agree with the indiscretion bit where most of our public officers have not exercised proper discretion for their own safety. Because you see, if it's not coming from national security and it's not coming from your personal zeal to achieve a certain aim, the person coming to install, how well do you know that person? Yeah. You see? Yes. So that is something that we must always pay attention to. Two, and most importantly, and for me, I think that that's the crux of the matter. We must accept that our national security apparatus have failed us. Nobody does it. People don't want to zero in on that. Look, I know you said it in passing, but you see, what should be the protocol? Particularly where there have been a change from one government to another. Should it be business as usual where you carry your files and walk into your office and 7 months down the line, if somebody hadn't come to have a discussion, the office was just... Do you know who else is spying? Let's assume that it wasn't Fuseini who put this thing there. Let's assume that it's some other jurisdiction who came to install the thing there and is transmitting on daily basis conversations.
How do we raise this point? And then in the same breath, blame Peter Mewu for not sweeping the place?
Yeah, I'm saying that. I haven't blamed Peter. I'm saying that it should have been normal security. As we sit here, I don't know, Kweku may be better placed to tell us. Who knows even if the president's office has been swept?
It has.
It has.
Kweku, that's why I say you know.
No, it has.
No, please. But I'm saying that, you see, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources office is equally as important as that of the president. And so I would have expected that even all vehicles that were handed over...
It's not as important as the office of the president, please.
Yeah.
Natural resources.
The office of any minister is not as important
I didn't
as
say
that of the president.
I didn't say it's more.
Of
course. Yes. So that is an arm of the president. That is an arm of the president.
An agent of the president.
And if you want to know how important the office is, it is the basis of our loan, grant, leverage, or whatever. Now. So it's very important. It's a very important office. Let's agree. Of course. You see, so bottom line is that I am saying that, look, I think that national security should be up and doing and moving forward. We should not leave these things to chance.
Should it be national security that just gets up and says, you are coming to this new office, wait, we have to do this before you come? Or we must clearly have the protocols laid down?
You see, in other jurisdictions, I would have thought that it's a laid down procedure.
Exactly. Do we have it?
We don't. If we don't, we should go back to it because I think that national security has been lapsed. And for me, you see, why? I said this thing somewhere, people were laughing, but it's true.
You say
why is it that every
we don't? And yes, you blame national security.
No, listen.
How do you do that? You say we don't.
Because the national security apparatus have conventions they follow across the world. So it's not that you should even put it on paper, black and white. But anybody serious national security coordinator or national security minister, first thing is, hey, ministers are taking office on 7th or 8th January. There should be a process where everybody is assigned to a ministry to go there and
where the incoming administration does not even trust the officers who are in there.
I'm saying that bottom line is that national security are come to sweep your office. Do not have to come with gadgets and come and do this. It could be like a pen that the guy just walks in. Oh, we are coming to check out the minister's office, see if everything is okay, and he's sweeping. I mean, like Weku said, even his ring, I don't trust it. Because these days, earrings, sunglasses. Look, the first one I got was a pen. A pen that somebody sold to me sometime. They got it from China, and you could record 35 whatever radios, millimeter radios around you, with sound and everything. So really, we are in a situation where we cannot no longer take these things for granted. So I believe that moving forward, it's unfortunate that this has happened, but it's also an opportunity for us to put in the proper protocols and ensure. And I'm saying that, look, he has been DCE before, or MCE. You are MCE.
Yes,
you are DCE. Do you realize that DCEs, even if one has been removed within 3 months, they renovate their bungalows? If there's a change of government, they will renovate their bungalows.
I don't know.
The regional minister, they will renovate their bungalows.
I don't know of that.
Why? Oh, I'm telling you. Yes, I'm telling you.
No, I mean, I don't know.
I go and check your former place.
Of course, I have a case that I can speak to. That's what I'm saying. So
why do they
your
do
Frank
that?
Baker took
When the people are moving, what the first scandal most governments get in this country?
He says the now deputy attorney general.
Yes, the last 3 months I had
took
to
over.
Back.
He didn't
innovate. Yes,
don't worry. It's
so I have the precedent.
But
we have to move on.
I'm saying that go back and check. Most of the scandals you always hear when new governments take over, when there's a change, say that renovation of government bungalows have cost so much, and there is always a problem with the figure and how one minister has. Why do they do that? They are more interested in that because maybe, just maybe, something will come to clean them up.
And you see, I was talking about commingling and the way we have an attitude of personalizing our offices. We need to check all of those, and we may make some good progress. But there's a bit, we started this issue. The first point on the discussion we had noted was, I'll put my presidency on the line to stop Galamsey Akufo-Addo before Inusah, took over all of the discussion. So in a minute or two, let's say something about that. The president at this meeting with the chiefs, and the chiefs too has something to say. If you heard Toby Afede, he says that you have taken away the powers. The Supreme Court has taken away our powers, whittled down our powers, clipped our wings, that we cannot summon people. So if we can't summon people, that is how we get to bring people to our presence and punish them. So how are we going to help you fight the Galamsey if you have taken away these powers? Let's hear the president. We'll be right back.
We established this committee within the government to design a policy for us, not just to stop it, to reclaim the land, to let our rivers work again, but also to see how we can figure a way for all these able-bodied young men who are involved in this activity to find an alternative livelihood. So it's a package. It's a package that we have designed to try and bring this menace to a conclusion. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me, and if I continue this exercise, perhaps they will not vote for me again. If by the grace of God I'm in a position, my party allows me to go again, and I have the health and everything to go again, that I'll not get it again. And I'll say to myself, well, this is a choice that all of us have to make as human beings. You do what you think is right, or do you do what you think will allow you to get along? I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do.
Vintage and reminiscent of his very profound statement some time ago about how we don't think about the generations. He's ready to put his presidency on the line to win this fight. How do you understand that? And how do you reconcile that with the call to the chiefs to support? And even though the chief say we will support, and we are actually doing so, but see what you have done to us, as in the state, through the Supreme Court.
Something, I understand it from the context of where, when in the heat of this whole Galamsey fight, we had some people who put themselves together in some form of a group, and they were issuing statements indicating that they supported his presidential bid, and today he's turned around and doing this to them. The statement from the president was so apt, and some of us who are his subordinates believe in the same direction. We think that we should install discipline and the right things in our country than to look at the opportunity of holding on to things that would make us remain in power.
Think of the next generation rather than the next election.
Absolutely. Our country has suffered so much that if we don't change our mindsets as Ghanaians and start to do the right things, I think that it will come to a time where we would have no country to even belong to. Look, we started with indiscipline on our roads. Check. And then, I mean, you take it around every fiber of our society, and then check the problems we are faced with. Assemblies go and then evict people who are illegally operating from a section, and they are trooping to a party office. And when you talk, some people think that it is unheard of for you to think that it is wrong for the assembly to act in that manner. And I've had the opportunity to argue with some of our people. And I've said, some of us who've been given the opportunity to serve, I came into this office with a conviction. I would not do what it is that I feel or I know is not right, because I think I should be looking at the next election. We must protect the heritage of our country. We must move away from this thing where the moment we are put into office, our next agenda is how we want to stay in office. We must do things right to lift our country up. You go to, I mean, some countries, even countries that should not measure, and then you look at the way things have turned around or things are going on, and you ask yourself, why can't we get into that same situation? Today, in Africa, everybody is pointing positive fingers at Rwanda. And I ask myself, Rwanda didn't start from 1957. They didn't start from 1960. Rwanda went into a very devastated situation. We all know of the Rwandan case in 1994. We saw it on TV. But today, but for Mauritius, there is no other country that can compare on all areas with Rwanda. How did they get there? The same leader after the war. The same leader.
Thank you, George.
So we have to do things
like
right.
You're saying, I can imagine that the millions of people who watch and listen to this show are asking themselves the talk, but will we walk the talk?
Well, something, let me start from a very, 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 very humorous note. The last time a certain president put his presidency on the line to fight a national cause, he lost the election. I hope that it happens to Nanadu. Very, very, very humorous on the note of humor. But
well, except that they say you may not be able to say that is really a national cause, because there was a way to go around it and to serve other people. He was just not willing to open up.
Well, that is somebody's perspective or opinion.
It's not an opinion, they are implementing it anyway.
Well,
okay, go ahead.
No, it's not happening. Let's not go into that. I just wanted that humor to fly. But
the teachers are getting their allowances, I understand they are getting the nurses.
I'm not too sure about that, because on the ground, the agitating is even more serious.
Okay, we'll
but
see.
Let's see about that. You see, something, I think that it is very important, and I am encouraged that the president would want to take the fight for Galamsey. And I am not worried. You see, when we are talking Galamsey, people are just looking at the fact that we are degrading our land and things like that. But you see, I am aware, and I'm sure you are. You're a student of law. You have done some water law and other things. And I have the rare privilege of having my wife as a hydrogeologist, so I read some of her material. And I know that if we don't take it in 10 years, in 5 years, the war that will happen in Africa will be a war over water. And so if Galamsey is destroying our water bodies, anybody who wants to arrest Galamsey so that we can have our dream and all those other things restored.
Already there's some improvement.
Yes, I hear it's getting cleaner and clearer and things like that. I think that is something that we must all, as a nation, support. So yes, kudos to the president, and I think that I like his frankness, even with the chiefs, because it is known, nobody can. I mean, I am very clear in my mind that politicians are involved, chiefs are involved, and other business. I mean, big guys are involved, and so to take the fight to them is not an easy feat, but I am happy that the president is leading the charge, and it's important that the highest authority in the land leads the charge.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, with the chiefs, I just want to say that, you see, when chiefs are complaining that their powers have been whittled down, they must understand the context in which that was done. You see, we had a situation where if you wink at the chief's girlfriend, he would ask for you to come, and they arrest you and have you locked up if you don't go. And that is what the Supreme Court wanted to curtail. The Supreme Court is not, I mean, if you, up to today, if a chief sends you Shinab or he tells you the linguist stuff, you go. Because we have a certain court. Yes. So that issue should not be raised as the issue why they can't fight Galamsey. There are a lot of things on the ground, including the assemblies.
Don't say you are compelled to attend. You are not compelled by the force of law to attend.
Yes, traditionally, yes.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
So really, I think that we were watching, but you see, the only sad thing, that is why it's something started by saying the talk. The only thing that worried me a bit, and is again a lesson to all of us, is that Galamsey may just prove to be Nanado's biggest achievement if he does lead this charge.
Okay, right.
But let me finish. But you see, when he was coming in, he said that I've been accused that when I come, I'll stop Galamsey. I can assure you that I will never stop it.
Where is this?
Oh, it's in the. Oh, I can show you that. I can play it for you if I go to my gallery. On the campaign platform. I am saying that.
Let's all agree that this particular campaign, it's a campaign that the government has had no option but to really join and take over.
Yes. So we are saying that let's hope. I mean, let's all say that at least he's had a change of mind and that he sees it as a necessary evil that needs to be tackled, and we'll support him. But again, it gives bad light to us politicians. The thing we say in opposition, and what we do when we come in.
And it's important to note that there's a package that will be made available. We understood that even in the NDC era, there was something like that was being planned, but it was shelved. That alternative livelihood for those who be affected.
It's interesting. I saw a very emotionally charged president, and I understand because he has experienced it. I mean, his own backyard.
Right.
Those of us who come from mining areas, the Brim River, I was showing you a picture I took myself in May. I mean, you just can't use it for anything now. But I would say that whilst we are trying to resolve this menace caused by Galamsey, we should move beyond that. I think the president should also take the fight to the big mining companies. A lot of them are causing, and the effect of their activities can be worse than what we are experiencing now. The Galamsey one is physical, we see them. But the effect of mining operations itself can be long-lasting, and that one can even be in the air, diseases and so on. Then also, we have a law. The Minerals and Mining Act, Section 17 says the Water Commission can grant a mining company the right to impound, divert, to obviously impound the river from even where it is.
Okay.
And that for me, so we should also go to these mining companies. There are places when you go, they have put up notices that people should not even fetch water, the rainwater, and drink it. When these people don't even have otherwise access to water.
Places like that?
Yes. I can tell you, they are team area. I can tell you, notices are there. So you see, let's fight Galamsey. But I'll urge the president, once again, to also look at, especially this Section 17 of the Minerals and Mining Act. Because you are talking about water shortage, it may just not be Galamsey, but if your water is impounded or diverted, there won't be the source of the water itself will no more be available to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. We've got to move on. Your manifesto and what you stand for. We know that. Yes, Kuku. He's still going back to what he said. Nanado said while he was campaigning.
Well, I think there's a certain distortion of things. Absolutely. So we can ignore it.
Right.
Okay. The president has made a pledge. Is this a reflection of who he is, who he's always been? And I'm not surprised at all. The only thing is that really, it will not cost him his presidency. It won't happen, So we might as well move on. The chiefs have thought their intervention was intriguing. I don't get it. The Supreme Court has taken away their powers to summon people and punish them. How does that relate to the Galamsey thing? Before the Supreme Court did that, some chiefs were engaged in, and they're still engaged in. After the Supreme Court has done that, some chiefs, and I stress, some chiefs are still engaged in that. It's irrelevant. That intervention, I'm not attacking the personality of the chief.
Right.
No way. He's very well respected. One of the most respected chiefs around.
Right.
So I give him that, respect. But what he said, I think, is unsustainable and was irrelevant.
Interestingly, when they took away that power from them, they didn't take away the power that if their subjects insult them, it is crime and they'll be punished. For the president, he's insulted all the time and it's not crime.
Yeah, and some even threaten to banish people from their communities.
Yes.
in a republic. Yes, so I think that we should just leave the matter this way. The president has given his pledge. I trust him. I believe he's doing the right thing. And he may not end it. Look, it's a long, protracted struggle.
Okay.
This whole reclamation and replant, all those things, it's going to take a long time.
Right.
It may go beyond even 8 years. But the most important thing is make success at each stage. Yeah.
You're right. And what success so far? Of course, that is very obvious. And people are fetching water from places and comparing how the water looked like some time back, not very recently, and how now it is looking a lot more cleaner. Some messages, and then we take a break. Boateng Ajiman says that national security swept the office twice and did not find anything.
Who said?
That claim has been in the media. Then Kweku Owusu Mensa in Germany says, I am hearing this news of secret recorder on your show. Whoever did this should be punished, no matter what reason he gives. The orderly way of doing this is an open camera. Why? Because this is a public place. There shouldn't be a hidden camera, right? This was done with a bad intent, period. And Spike in Ohio says that, so if these gadgets were not found, will Inusah Fuseini own up? I think Inusah Fuseini has more answers to answer. Nana Ansa Obofor in the UK says, I think this Inusah Fuseini secret gadget monitor he planted has taught us a good lesson, and I'm very sure every person who will engage public office will, quote, sweep his office to know what's up. And in respect of what you said about the gadgets, the tracking device, which I ask whether it includes communication, I'm informed that there are tracking devices that have listening devices so that when your driver is attacked, you will know and help him. So vehicle tracking devices can listen and watch the occupants as well.
Okay.
We take a break here. When we return, we will continue our whining. We'll be right back.